Well, hello and welcome. It's a Thursday morning in April. It's a lovely spring day. The sun is out, which makes a nice change. And what we're going to do today is we're going to do an audio upgrade here at Audio Sport on this T4, using some Audio Sport products and upgrading the stereo and the speakers. What we'll do is we're going to run through what we're fitting, and then we'll run through the van, and then we'll start fitting piece by piece. Okay, this is what we're fitting today, starting at the front. Starting with the head unit, Pioneer head unit, a modern head unit, 50th channel, all the whistles and bells, DAB, all that kind of stuff. We're going to upgrade that first. We're also going to upgrade the standard dash speakers with these 4-inch items. After that, we're going to fit a set of Audio Sport door pockets and fit a set of 17cm speakers with those. And then finally, we're going to put in the rear the Audio Sport overhead pod right in the back of the van, which we're going to fit some 6x9s to. All this is going to run off the head unit. We're not putting any separate amplifiers in or anything like that. So let's have a look at the van. Okay, this is our van. It's a 2000 T4 short wheelbase, reasonably standard, not too much done. Set a seat upgrade and a floor put in it, so on and so forth, but none of that is any difference to us. The original sound system in a T4 is basically just these two 4-inch dash speakers. That's why so many upgrades are done, because they're too small for a proper all-round sound. So we're going to upgrade those. We're also going to put the door pockets on here as well. The customer has also bought a set of Audio Sport Vel trims, which is a trimmed panel to go in this section, which we'll put that on a bit later on as well. So obviously we're going to have to run cabling from the head unit down into these door speakers. We're also going to have to run cabling for the overhead pod, which goes right at the back of the roof. That cabling we're going to run down the channel down the side of the van, and we're going to go down the A pillar and into the dashboard. Okay, so we're going to get stuck in step by step. We're going to get this head unit out that's in the van first, remove the front speakers, and start from there basically. Okay, we popped the stereo out, we popped the original speakers out. Both have been upgraded before. Unfortunately, we've got a bit of a lash up here with a power lead, so we're going to have to deal with that. Also on the speaker connection, someone's got some black tape and a bit of extra lead lashed on the end there, so we're going to have to deal with that as well. It's not too much of an issue, we can sort that out pretty easily. So the speakers come out easily. The grills themselves, you can see, they just pop out. So you just get we used a trim tool, but if you just use like kind of a butter knife or something very blunt, you can just get underneath and pop them up. The original speakers are just put into these holes with little clips. If you grab hold of them, you can pull them out quite easily. Let's say these have been upgraded before, so those just drop into the hole with no problem, so they come out very easily. Stereo was standard kind of fit, had keys to release. We released those nice and easily, and that came out easily as well. So as I say, there's a couple of little issues to sort out, but we should be fine. Okay, what I'm planning on doing next in the job is running all the cabling. So I need to run some cables around the dash. I need to go across the door and into the door. So I'm going to pop the door cards off. I'm also going to run speakers leads front to rear. So I'm going to take off this A-pillar trim all through there as well. So I'm going to start with the door card. Window winders are easy. Might be able to do this while I'm holding the camera. Yeah, that's it. You just pull the inner section down, as you can see, and then the winder comes off in your hand like that. So that's the winder. This handle, get a trim tool behind it, pull this off, 3 screws there. We've got a popper there to take off, to get off, and we have a screw this side. Take all those bits off, then the door card simply all lifts up as one and comes off. Sorry, undo that as well. So we're going to pop these door cards off both sides. I'm also going to pop off this little bit of dash. There's a piece of trim. I've taken that off already. There we go. There was a piece of trim just on there. Just pop that off. There's a little 8mm bolt. And undo that and take this little bit of dash off. So we can just access up round the back of the dash there to run our cabling. Okay, we just removed that bit of dash trim from there, so now we can access this rubber grommet from the back. There's another rubber grommet on the inside, so we'll take that out, put a hole in it. We're going to take this rubber grommet out and this one, and we're going to run the cables through here with a bit of conduit over the top. So pop them out, and as you can see, we can access the door. By the way, this trim came out. There's a 8mm bolt there, but there's also a couple of screws just in the glove box, and one down the bottom of the glove box there to take out to access that side. I'll just walk around to the driver's side and show you how to access that one. This side is simpler again. This is the glove box, fuse box cover, and there's just, if you can see that, there's just a thumb wheel that unscrews. Reasonably simply. There we go. And that, as you can see, it just slots out. We now have access. That's where the fuse box is, but we also have access with a poke around to these grommets at the back, so we can do speaker leads through here, through the glove box, through the fuse box, and back up to the dash. Right, just to explain to you what I've done here, we need to run a cable from the van to the door. We've taken the grommets out of the door, each side, and I've just made up a bit of a bellow to protect the wires. Now, you can buy these from Volkswagen, you can buy the genuine ones. At the time of this video, I believe they were still available, but we've made up our own today. You could also just leave the cable, run it through the grommets and leave the cable going from the door to the van, but that's not very good practice. If that gets snagged or whatever, you're going to damage your cabling and then ultimately damage your head unit. So all we've done here, I've taken the two grommets out. These were blank. I've put a hole in the centre of these. They're kind of like a hard plasticky rubber, not a complete rubber grommet as such, so I've managed to put a hole in each of those like that. Okay, then I've just got some of this plastic conduit which I just got from my local accessory shop, car accessory shop. Comes in long lengths, so I've cut a little bit down, and what I've done is just threaded a piece through each side, the approximate size, and then just put a zip tie. You see that zip tie on the end, just to stop it pulling, the conduit pulling through. Now I haven't pulled that zip tie tight, obviously, because I have to put a cable through it. So that's our bellows made up. Just put that one together, and then we can put them back in the van and run the cables through them. Okay, we've run the tail through this side. Let's just run through what we've done. As you can see, the tail of the speaker is here. We use reels of cable, but you'll find that most speakers will have cable supplied. Right, so what we've done, that's our tail. And I can just get the camera in, I don't know if I can, yeah, just about. What I've done is I've cable tied the cable to the part of the mechanism for the window winder, so it doesn't interfere with any of the window when it comes up and down. As you can see, I've gone through the door, through my makeshift bellow, which will put that all back in place. There's another grommet on the inside, which is there, which I've put that in place. Now I'm going to push all those back into place, and the cable runs on back into the van. So I'll push all that in place, and then we're going to do the other side. There's our homemade grommet in place, homemade bellow should I say, in place. Happy with that, it's neat and tidy now, so that should protect the cable quite nicely. Okay, we're fitting an overhead pod in the rear which goes like that, so we need to run some tails front to rear. Now what we're going to do is we're going to run it down the side of this van along here. This section here at the top of the window, top of the van, is a cavity all the way along to the end up to this point. There you have, it's where the van joins to the cab area, is a solid bulkhead there as such, okay? But we want to run all the way down through there. It's going to be the very easiest route to our overhead pod, and then down the A-pillar and into the dash, okay? So what we've done, if this area was carpeted, then we could probably get away with tucking it behind the carpet and be none the wiser. But as this area isn't carpeted in this one, what I've done is I've drilled a small hole and put a rubber grommet in there, so I can come out through there and then down the A-pillar plastic. Okay, so we're going to run our cables right the way down through there, 2 cables obviously, and then we're going to come out of this grommet and then behind the plastic trim all the way down to our dashboard. Still makes sense as the best route. We've got quite thick cables, so pushing down through this cavity will be reasonably easy. As I say, it's quite a big cavity in there. But if you do struggle with it, if you have something like a bit of hard wire or something like that, you can push that down through and push your cable down with it. So it's going to be a bit of a job, but it won't be too bad. Okay, first tail went through quite easily. As I said, we're using quite heavy duty cable. It's quite thick, so we've pushed it through quite easily. It wasn't too bad at all. We just pushed all the way through, pushed through to that point. We grabbed it there and then just pushed it through to our hole there without too many problems. Now I just wanted to show you this. What I'm going to do, instead of faffing around trying to do the same thing, what I've done, can you see that just about, I've taped the second tail to the first tail and I'm going to pull them through together. I'm going to pull this tail here, which needs to be a lot longer. I'm going to thread that through, and that's going to pull the other tail down through with it. Nice to have two people for this one pulling at one end, one feeding at the other, so they don't snag up too bad. But we're going to pull that tail through now, and then we should run enough cable to go down to the dash, and that's our tails done, ready to fit the pods. Okay, we've done all our wiring in the van, so now we're going to fit some of the Audiosport components. There's full fitting instructions on the website for these items, audiosport.co.uk. So what we're going to do is we're going to just summarise in this video. What we've done, these are the Audiosport pockets. What we've done is we've trimmed out the hole already. These come with a standard 4-inch hole. The reason for this is that we don't have measurements and dimensions for every single speaker on the market, so we've put a 4-inch standard hole and then trim out from there. So we've trimmed out for our speakers that we're fitting today, so we've done that already. What we're going to do now is we're going to pop the pocket off the original door card and we're going to fit this one. Now the way that the pockets are, try and hold the camera and do everything here, the way the pockets are held on from the factory, there we go, turn it around. Underneath this plastic you'll see that there's screws all the way around holding the original pocket. We're going to take all those out to take the original pocket off. Then we're going to use a lot of these screw holes to put the new pocket on. We're just going to take these caps off just to get the insulation pad out of the way, and then we'll get that pocket off. Okay, as you can see, we've taken off the original pocket. There's a bit of grime there just to wipe off where the old pocket's been. As you can see all the screw holes all the way around the outside of where the pocket was. We're going to use most of these to secure our new pocket. Now the screws that came out have got a very harsh thread to them, so no real use to us. So we need a screw approximately the same size, but a normal kind of self-tapping screw to hold these in. Okay, so oh yeah, what we're also going to do on the speakers that we're using, they haven't got the hugest basket, so we don't need to cut any holes in this to let the basket pass through into the door. If you're using high-end components, a lot of them have got a big magnet or big basket on the back of it. You may need to cut this out, but what we do need to do is we need to access wiring through here. So we're going to put a small hole for the wire to come through here, and then we're going to, as I say, give this a clean up and sort some screws out. Okay, we've placed our pod on the door card. What I've done, I've just placed it on the edge of the bench. What I'm trying to avoid is scratching the surface of the door card now, but what we need to do is get a screw in through the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it in place. The new pocket basically replaces the old one, so you put it back where the old one came off. They are quite tight and will pull in when you screw up. So get the front placed where I want it to. And I'm then going to go where the bit that's hanging over the bench here. I'm going to screw a hole through the original hole into the new build, and then I'm going to put a screw into that. Right, got one screw in that end. Where is it? There it is. You can see I drilled up through there, put one screw in that end, and now I'm going to just turn it around and get a screw in the other end. Line up the bottom of the pocket to make sure it's all square. Get one in each end, and then it's in the right place. And I've got a screw in this end now. If you can see that. Where is it? You can see that on the camera. Where is it? It's there. Yeah, got a screw in there. So I've got a screw in each end. Then I've got a couple of options here. The door pocket is attached, but obviously you need to put the rest of the screws in. Now, you've got two options. You can get a friend to kind of hold the door card up, make sure you don't scratch the front of it as you're screwing up the rest of the screws, or you can put a blanket down, put it down and be very careful and just put all the screws in that way. But that's what we're going to do next. So, all the original screw holes we're going to use to screw up the new build. Okay, this screw hole here, if I pan down from the top, that's the top of the build. The screw hole there, yeah, that one there. That one is not used. That one basically screws into the upright part of the pocket. Yeah, so you can see that there. The upright part of the pocket, the original pocket, which is no longer there. So there's no need to put a screw in there. Just leave that. Otherwise, all the others you can screw in all the way around. But do take care just to make sure that you don't drill through like a raging lunatic and you don't miss the pod. Just take everyone gently and just make sure that you're hitting the pod itself and you're not popping out the side of the build on the other side. Right, as you can see, I've been round and put screws in all the way around. What I did do was put one extra one in just there to hold the build in place there. You can put as many screws as you like in really, but the standard amount plus that one is usually pretty good. Okay, there's our door pod finished, fitted to card even. See, it's a nice, all the gaps have pulled up lovely where we've screwed it in. What I'm going to do is pre-drill the holes for the speaker. Obviously I'm not going to bolt the speaker in until I've got it in the vehicle and I've got the wiring on, but I'm just going to pre-drill the holes now, ready to put it in, so it's a bit easier once I've got it on the vehicle. Passenger side is a little bit different, as in there's not normally, if you've got a panel van, a pocket already there. But what Volkswagen did do in their wisdom is they marked out all the holes for a pocket if you want one. So following the same kind of routine as you did before, the only difference being that you have to drill through the plastic first as well. So I'm going to do it exactly the same way. But what I might do here first is pre-drill some of these holes, pre-drill some of these. I'm going to turn it over, put the pocket on top, and then drill into the pocket from underneath and screw it up. What we're going to be using here, because the customer, his seat conversion is a single seat on a double base, we're going to use the double seat pocket from Audio Sport to go on this side, so we've got more clearance. Okay, quick note, if you're going to fit the double seat pocket, the very highest indentation for the top corner of the pocket, so right at the end of the door card, the top, as you can see, the screw holes there, the very top one is too high. Because of the way that the double seat pocket is made, it's thinner, the profile is different at the top, so don't use this top one, okay? So again, panning out, that's the front, this is the rear top. Don't drill a hole through that one and don't use that one. Okay, move on to the rear pod now. We've done our tails earlier on, so we're going to fit this pod. Firstly, we've got to cut out the holes to the 6x9, so we'll do that first. Okay, there's our holes cut ready for 6x9s. Again, full fitting instructions are on the website audiosport.co.uk, so we're going to summarise ourselves through this one. Right, I'm going to go put the pod in place, check that it fits first, make sure the ply line is not in the way. Okay, there's our rear pod in and in the vehicle, 6x9 screwed in. It's a mechanical fit on these, let me walk around. Mechanical fit, cross back as you can see. If that zooms in on, focuses on that, there you go. Screws along the back, 5 along the back, and then inside 2 in each corner, one each side there. There's one little screw in the middle, just tagged into the headlining. These all fit in the metal cross member along the back. These 2 screw to the side rigger piece, which is a cavity. Don't screw straight up through from this section because you'll just go straight through the roof. So just do it with care. Full instructions on the website audiosport.co.uk. So that's that pod in. Right, get to all the wiring now. And there's our finished item. Head unit fitted, Pioneer head unit. upgraded front speakers, Audio Sport door pockets with speakers in, and in the back overhead pod with 6x9s all fitted. All items available from audiosport.co.uk.